Hey everybody, how's it going this week? I usually don't talk about movies all that much. I'm not a real big movie guy. I watch films every once in a while, but it's not like my bread and butter. It's not like my big hobby. My big hobby right now is collecting information, nonfiction, reading articles, creating articles, and that's just that's sort of the thing I do in my spare time these days. I consume news just to be slightly less uninformed, but still quite woefully uninformed. But still, that's what I do here. I make news, but there's something special about 2019, and that is that we are on the precipice of something really special in the furry fandom, or not really in the furry fandom, but just as a fan of anthropomorphic cartoon talking animals, right? There is something really special that's there in the movie scene, and that is that we have a hat trick. We literally have a hat trick. We have three anthropomorphic three anthropomorphic animal films coming out this year by the three major motion picture studios. We have Detective Pikachu from Warner Brothers. We have The Lion King from Disney, of course. And we have the one we're going to mostly talk about this week, the Sonic the Hedgehog. The Sonic the Hedgehog franchise by Paramount. So, interestingly enough, the internet's reaction to these three franchises has been completely different. For one, you have Detective Pikachu, which was received very positively so far. Seems to have a good story arc, good buddy cop system. Kind of gives me a Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of feel to it. What if Pokemon and humans were in the same world, and what if this person doesn't really like Pokemon, I guess? Like, you're like your father. It's like, no, I'm not like my father. So there's like this sort of like, I don't want to be a Pokemon trainer, but I have to team up with this Pikachu kind of vibe. So that's why I'm getting like Who Framed Roger Rabbit's vibes from it. We'll see. The Lion King has had interesting reactions. But the one that sticks out to me and the one I kind of agree with a little bit is like when looking at the trailers, it has a kind of meh factor going about it. Like, they're saying all these lines and memorations, but they kind of seem meh, right? Like, the expressions aren't really expressive. There's not really major expressions of the characters. It sort of looks like my fursuit head. It doesn't matter how happy and joyful I get. My facial expressions don't change, and it looks really weird. So I've got to do like other things to show expressions, to show like crazy things. And somebody who's not playing this with the sound on is going to be like, what the heck is he talking about? Look, because I'm animated. Woo. So, when Simba is being told, like, the one big scene that they do is, like, it shows Simba's face when Scar is going, run away and never return. And, like, Simba looks like, meh. Neutral expression. You can do a lot with a neutral expression. It's just that you gotta have other ways to express yourself for sure. So many people said, Pokemon movie good, that one bad. Then we got to the third one, Sonic the Hedgehog. So if you haven't gotten sort of a theme going here, you understand what I'm going with this, right? I think you do. We're going this way with this. Yeah, that. Basically. So the Pokemon movie was seen as a good. The Lion King movie is seen as bad. Bad in the sense not showing as much expression as the original animated version, which is kind of a tough act to follow. It was a really well received movie at the time. It was like groundbreaking at the time, and its animation still holds up. It's still beautiful. It's still very expressive. And, of course, now we got the ugly. We got Sonic, which was the whole thing. A lot of people kind of late to the party, of course, because it happened during the week and the trailer was released during the week. But I release videos and everything, so I'm always late to the party. I don't care. I like doing videos whether or not they're timely or not. And now that the internet's moved on to the next thing to kind of shimmy around, particularly conspiracy theories surrounding the ugly, right? So we'll go into that later. But all I can see is like these 3 motion pictures. It's really too bad that like The Lion King is the odd one out here. It's like if only Disney had acquired like a Sony property. By the way, they do have Kingdom Hearts, so they kind of have ties to like Sony executives somewhere. They couldn't have taken like a Square Enix animal character, like a Chocobo or something, and just kind of made it another film or something. I don't know. Like they could have taken like another anthropomorphic character from a Sony property, and then it would have been the trifecta from heck. You would have had somebody from Paramount, Disney, and Warner Brothers fighting it out against Sony, Sega, and Nintendo. It would be the most interesting brouhaha you'd ever have. I mean, come on. It's like, looks like, Sonic and Pikachu, you can at least fight them on Smash Brothers. You can't pick Simba. I guess Incineroar is as close as you can get. So anyways, but yeah, I mean, it just makes sense, right? I could just picture Sonic the Hedgehog going. I mean, it makes even more sense now because Sonic the Hedgehog is going to go, Blondie! Hey, Blondie! I'm not Blondie. What? Blondie! It's like, just because my fur is yellow, I'm not blonde. That's not my name. My name's Pikachu, not Blondie. Blondie! You Blondie! Anyways. Hey, I thought I said I didn't know film. Well, I know... Who doesn't know the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? Like, I'm not a movie buff, but at least I know what the good, the bad, and the ugly is, alright? I'm not that uncultured. I'm a little uncultured. But yeah, so we're mostly going to be talking about the Sonic thing. Speaking of being uncultured. I think I can come at this trailer with a very negative and neutral view, because I am certainly not a... I am not a major Sonic fan. I just happen to just be into anthropomorphic cartoon animals, and in no way, shape, or form was Sonic the Hedgehog really my gateway franchise into. What is that? What did you put up on my screen? What did I? Okay, I wrote a 60,000 word fan fiction for fanfiction.net back when I was in high school around the Sonic Satam universe. Okay, all right. That's not that much though. I mean, you're a kid. You're bored. You have nothing better to do at the time, right? I mean, there's not much you can do when you're in high school. You're kind of just like, learning things and what's that? Okay, 120,000 words. And okay, I made an adaptation of... I made a fan fiction that adapted very obscure Sonic the Hedgehog games such as Sonic 3D Blast and... what was the other one of it? Sonic 2 for the Game Gear. Not the Genesis, the Game Gear. And yes... Okay, you got me. All right, take them down, please. Take those things down. I don't need that on my face. All right, my past is coming back to haunt me. Okay, yes, and yes, I made basically I made a Sonic timeline, which up to about 2006, I had basically tied all the universes together, the cartoons, the everything but the Archie comics, really. Anything but the comics, because I never really got a hold of the comics, but I did come at the games, the cartoons. Like, I had them all in this sort of timeline. And obviously some of the games and things have sort of covered the same areas, like Sonic X covers some of the events of Sonic Adventure and stuff like that. So obviously there's some overlaps and stuff. But I had that. It was a mess, but it made sense. As much as it possibly could. It would probably make Mr. Brian from Polygon go absolutely gaga. And unfortunately, because when I wrote all those notes down, it was in a time before cloud computing happened. I did not have copies saved onto the cloud, and therefore, as soon as my one computer went, There went all the notes. Whoo! I do remember like some of it, but anyways. Okay, we get it, right? Okay, I am well qualified to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. A little well qualified, a little overqualified, if it were. So what I gotta say, what was my initial reaction? Obviously, it's ugly. I mean, obviously, but it's more than just like I mean, obviously that's surface level stuff. Like, what about Sonic as a character? Because if you're writing fan fiction, you have to kind of get in the head of the characters, and if you're writing fan fiction, you kind of have to understand characterization and other things such as that. So while this is like surface level stuff, it's like, oh my gosh, he looks so uncanny valley and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, everyone can see that, except for whatever executive put the trailer together. There are a lot of other things that were like obviously problematic with the trailer, right? This is the elephant in the room. What's it called? Gangster's Paradise, right? Right? It's like, now a lot of people are like going, why did they choose Gangster's Paradise? It's like, I think most of us should know why they chose Gangster's Paradise. My question is why did Gangster's Paradise choose Sonic, right? Why did they choose to license that and go, oh yeah, that's a good idea. We're gonna use that there. It's like, the only other movie, right? And it's fascinating because the Detective Pikachu one uses the same music as, you know, the original Smash Brothers, like we talked about earlier with Sonic and Pikachu in Smash Brothers, and you know the song that Detective Pikachu uses in its trailers is the same song that goes with the original release of Smash Brothers on the 64. So Happy Together, right? The little cheery do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, you know? And so it kind of works in a cute way, and it works with that one as well, despite it being used in the past. The only thing that I can recall that was used with Gangsta's Paradise was that movie in the back time. I think it's called Terrible Minds, or like Dangerous Minds, or not, something like that. I can't remember the name of the film, but it was basically the film that was tied with the film, with the song. And you know, it was the teacher trying to, you know, going to an inner city school and like trying to deal with the adversity and racial adversity at its time. It was a very 90s film, okay? But, you know, and, you know, the interesting thing about Gangsta's Paradise is that it is a good song. It's a great song. I love the song. Just doesn't go with Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, that's the thing. It's like, the executives chose it because it's like, oh, it's like, the executive guy at the executive verse like, hey, we need a song that represents the 90s. And it needs to be cool. You know, we need a cool song from the 90s that'll make people nostalgic for the 90s. Anyone got any ideas? Oh yeah, you, Mr. White, way in the back. Oh, how about Gangster's Paradise? Gangster's Paradise? Yeah, you know, that song by Coolio is that cool one, you know. A local boy kicked me in the butt last week, and I smiled at him, and I turned the other... Mr. White, that's Weird Al Yankovic's rendition of the parody. But I get what you're saying. Very good song. It was very popular in the 90s. I love it. Package it up. Ship it out. Interestingly, Gangster's Paradise, like, the message behind the song is extremely... It's extremely easy to listen to, and it's very, you know, for the genre, for that era, very family friendly. So you could like post it on like the radio, which is why it was very popularized in that is because, you know, a lot of, you know, things of that particular genre weren't played on the radio for whatever reason. Like, and sometimes it was, you know, it's just. It doesn't fit, right? Because it's a very tragic song, right? It's a tragic song about somebody having to live a life that they don't really want to live, but they haven't been given the option to live any other kind of life, right? It's not like Sonic's butt rock, right? And that's the interesting thing. Like as far as characters goes and their ties to genres of music, Sonic is a more butt rock kind of style, like Offspring, or sort of obviously Crush 40, because that's the song that they always choose to play for those things. The hip hop style of songs usually are tied in the Sonic universe, in the games, are usually tied with Knuckles, as opposed to Sonic. So it's kind of a weird juxtaposition because of that. So, I mean, obviously it's like there could have been worse choices, I guess, but it's like you could tell it's like, oh, it's the 90s, we're gonna do it that way. It's because people will remember the 90s, and it's like, but the content of the song is about entrapment, right? Like it really is. It's like, and by utilizing that song, you don't have to. Your mama doesn't have to think that your mind is gone. Your mind is gone, right? Like, it doesn't juxtapose very well. Sonic is a free spirit who, really isn't tied down by a lot of things, and he's very free roaming. He's very chaotic. He's a chaotic good character, right? And his ability to run from situations and his incredible speed make it so that he's not tied down, which is more the vibe you get from Gangster's Paradise, is that the song singer is tied down in a world that didn't give him a chance to, to make an honest living. So he has to, but he has pride in where he is. It's an interesting mix of emotions in that song, and it certainly doesn't tie with Sonic the Hedgehog all that well. But I rambled on about that enough, and obviously people understand why that song doesn't work. As soon as the song hit, most people are like, well, what? That doesn't work at all, right? So what were they thinking? But other than that, like, the character of Sonic also had other issues, other than just like the song being tied with him. By the way, that scene where he hits the play button before Gangster's Paradise plays, they're really irking for the 90s nostalgia. I mean, he literally has like a boombox radio with like a cassette player and a play button. I mean, come on, guys. You're trying to make some of these 90s as possible. But unfortunately, they kind of gutted his attitude as well, or gutted his personality. I don't know, in the trailer seems a bit, nerfed, right? Or it doesn't seem to work all that well. At least for the context and characterization, or just certain things just don't make sense. Like him being nostalgic and like hitting a tape recorder or cassette player and hitting play and letting the song play. But then in a later scene, he's looking at a Fitbit, going, "Oh, I got this many steps in today." It's like, what era are you in, man? Are you stuck in the 90s, or are you now like, oh, okay, I'm hip hop and modern now? But just overall, like, his quirky lines weren't that quirky, and the one scene, like, really that kind of was like, what is this one scene where they have at the end there, it's kind of the awkward scene where they're zipping up the bag, and then Sonic is talking in the bag, and then there's these like bystanders who are just happen to be standing there, and nobody else happens to be walking by at the moment. It's this perfectly Hollywood kind of thing where there's just two people standing there in front of the elevators, and two people come stand next to them, and Sonic is in the bag, and he's talking in a muffled voice, and he's like, "I'm in the bag, it just smells like gym socks in here," and it's like, here's the thing. Why did they put you in the bag? My assumption is that in this scene, they're trying to sneak Sonic the Hedgehog into the thing, and they don't want to scare anybody. Because, that. Well, that and a blue talking hedgehog would scare anybody, even if it didn't look like that, right? So, why? Like, why would you do that? Like, why would he be talking? If they're trying to be sneaky, "Colonel, I'm trying to sneak past the guards, but this hedgehog keeps blabbering his mouth. His lips keep clapping together and alerting the guards." It's like, stop yammering. If you're trying to be stealthy, stop yammering. Sonic isn't like, I know Sonic gets impatient, but he's not dumb. He's not stupid. It's like if they're trying to sneak in someone, he's gonna keep his mouth shut. Like, he's not gonna draw attention like that. It just doesn't make sense as a scene. It doesn't make sense. It's awkward anyway, right? So, like, Sonic's characterization, not his like, his model, like, yeah, okay, it's bad. And yeah, that's easily fixable, but my worry is in the characterization, right? I'm a characterization guy at heart. Obviously, I don't get too worried about aesthetics, because otherwise I would buy fursuits from a fancy fursuit designer instead of having my own, like, thing here. So that being said, like, to me, there and the interesting thing is, like, there's like a fallout going on, and one of the big fallouts is, and I don't know if I got a clip of this or not. I'll have to see. If I got the clip of him, I don't think I did actually. No. So one of the designers of Sonic is like, we've heard your complaints and we're going to try to rework the model, which is great. Hopefully it doesn't create too much work and too much effort, because, you know, a movie is more than just some of its parts sometimes, and sometimes trailers are very, very poorly made. Sometimes trailers don't reflect really well on the thing. I think one of the big ones was The Princess and the Frog, as the animated film. It was like one of the last big animated films of Disney. And unfortunately, like, it was a very good it was a pretty decent film. It was a good film, but like, the advertisement for it was like, right? And it was like, I'm not gonna see that in theaters. It doesn't look good at all. And but it was just the trailer was bad. And that was when I watched it with my sibling. I'm like, this is actually not a bad film. It's too bad the trailer, like, nerfed it that bad. But interestingly, like, there's been two big conspiracies, right, that have come out since the whole trailer release. One conspiracy, or one, not one, or conspiracy, but concern/conspiracies. One is the concern that the workers are going to have to work overtime since the movie's going to be releasing in 6 months to rework Sonic's model, right? And the other one is people saying that, oh, they planned this the whole time. Everyone planned, the Paramount people planned to have the Sonic looking horrible on their posters and on all this stuff, just to troll everybody and to get them into movie theaters because the model looks horrible to look at, and people are going to pay money to look at a horrible model for 20 minutes or, well, 2 hours. Movies are 2 hours now, right? That's how long they are? Okay. Just like my videos. Anyways, let's get to the point. Anyways, it doesn't make any sense, right? And this whole outrage style of advertising, like, I don't really believe in that sort of thing. I don't believe that it's a thing. Some people are like, oh, it is a thing. It's a thing. And it's a thing in politics. It doesn't really. And this came up with the whole fursuit, like, thing too, when the Zweizig, right, brand launch. Like, people are accusing them of trying to use outrage in order to sell a product, and that's not really a thing, because especially if you're selling a product that somebody has to wear, because, you know, you have to deal with the outrage that the company is creating amongst, you know, people. And you don't want that sort of thing. Some people love, I guess, negative attention to themselves, and I guess maybe those people buy it, but that's a really small audience. It's like, well, you're talking about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie now. See, isn't that proof? You're talking about something that happened. See, it was all a plan. It was a great scheme the whole time. Those executives knew you would be talking about. That's why he made those horrible looking things. You know, it's like, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. People are going to talk about things whether or not somebody intended them to talk about them or not. And the internet's going to complain about things no matter what it is. You don't have to plan anything for the internet to complain about anything. It just happens. It's a thing that occurs. It's not a big conspiracy plan. Everyone outside of you isn't like something ready to be manipulated into something. It's like, what are we supposed to do? Not talk about anything because we might be pseudo advertising for somebody else. We might be a person who's a big fan of anthropomorphic characters is going to talk about movies where there's anthropomorphic characters because their trailers came out. Oh my gosh! what kind of world do we live in now? I mean, if you're going to come up with a conspiracy, at least come up with a good one. Here's one for you. There was a good side of that trailer that a lot of people agreed was a pretty good side, and that's this guy, which a lot of people were kind of concerned about at first as playing that particular role, but in the trailer, Dr. Eggman is really the only one with an interesting story arc. Because as a character, we've never really seen his character as something before the Eggman, right? As you can see him in his full mustache motif here, he looks pretty good. But interestingly enough, like early on in the trailer, you don't see this. You see him in like a dark uniform, like a dark suit, and like just normal hair and a smaller mustache, and just, you know, prancing around like he's the biggest dog in the room, even amongst people in the military, and very hard to work with individual, very eccentric, which very much matches his motif in a way. But you watch him as, you know, he progresses over the trailer, and he has the better lines, right? It's like Sonic goes, "What is that? It's like, oh no, it's like, is that all you got?" And like he's like, "Oh no, that's not all I got, but thank you for asking." It's like, that's not. And he says it in that, and he gives that line in delivery. He's like, he's got the better comebacks. He's got, like, he even the quote unquote basic one, which is kind of cringy. Like it sort of works in its own way. I don't know. Like that was kind of a cringy moment, but like his arc sort of like I get it, and it's like, to me, doesn't it make sense that someone like Dr. Eggman here is the one who created the trailer? Think about it. If you were an evil Eggman trying to take over the world, and this pesky hedgehog is being a thorn in your side, a quill in your side, if you will, wouldn't you do something like make a movie trailer that makes him look stupid? This is a perfect plan. I, the great Dr. Eggman, can't defeat Sonic the Hedgehog with robots, so instead I will use the oldest method in the book. Propaganda. Yes, I will make Sonic the Hedgehog look like the most ugliest, hideous creature you have ever seen in your entire life. Not that. That was pretty hideous, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. It's perfect. It's perfect. Yosh! I did it. Now everybody will see this trailer, and Sonic the Hedgehog's reputation will be no more. No one will ever try to make a Sonic the Hedgehog movie again, but I, Dr. Eggman, will steal the show from that sniveling little hedgehog. I will be on top. I will be the greatest. Everyone will say, "What more? We want more films of this Dr. Eggman character." You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, if you see the film, if you see the trailer in that context, it's funny as heck. Because it just seems like that's like something Dr. Eggman would do, right? I mean, if we're gonna start making up stuff about who did what and where and why, we may as well have fun with it. I mean, come on. We're given the internet. We're given infinite possibilities. Oh, we're gonna do, oh, Paramount did this thing on this thing, so this guy would do this and everyone would react to it. No, whatever. Okay. Anyways, so I'm gonna think that these three films are certainly going to be in the recommended list, or at least in the list of things that people are watching and suggesting in the at the Ursa Majors next year for sure. It's going to be interesting if the that Avengers flick that's out right now, which I haven't seen either, but if it gets spoiled for me, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way to see it. And I like the experience of watching a film. I don't really care about spoilers all that much. I'm not like one of those spoiler guys who's like, "Shh, don't say anything to me. I don't want to know anything. I want to go into it blind." It's like, if somebody tells me like what's going on, I'm not gonna be too worried. It's like, the only thing I get annoyed about as a sort of a thing is like if somebody is sitting across from me and they're giving like a synopsis of the whole film. It's like, you know, it's like, are you going to contribute a synopsis? Or like some idiot sitting on a chair talking about how he analyzed the trailer and like what his feelings about the trailer are, and instead of like watching the 2-minute trailer, you just watched a 30-minute, 20-minute video about a guy rambling about a trailer. You know that. That's kind of annoying, isn't it? Yeah, that's absolutely annoying. Some people like it, I guess. I guess you did too. So, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. What do you think? Are you going to watch, by the way, Detective Pikachu, the Mr. Blondie. Blondie here is going to be releasing on May 10th, so that's this Friday. Whether I'm going to watch that one, I don't know. Like, if I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait, just as I always do. If people like it, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go and watch it with somebody, but, you know, if not, then not. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this week. What do you feel about those 3 films? Kick that like, kick the subscribe button, kick a comment in the comment section about what you think about the Sonic trailer and how gosh ugly it was. Blondie, don't leave me here, Blondie. Anyways, I'm going to get the hop out of here, and I'll see you guys next week. Whoa. Whoa. Get that out. Whoa. There's my end card. That's not my end card. That's not my end card. There's my end card. I'm going to have to edit all that out.